there's a political shift in the landscape that's going on that it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. But, we saw a glimpse of it in the polling the other week that came out where they asked people about how favorable they felt relative to the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, and to the Tea Party. And the Tea Party was the most favorable.
By far, yes.
By far. But let me tell you what I found with these Tea Party group, because certainly healthcare has brought them together, but they're not just around healthcare. They're around energy policy and around tax policy. And I always profile the audience I talk to. About 40 to 60% of the town hall meetings are Medicare eligible beneficiaries, and they're mad as hell. They keep hearing in every proposal that there's $500 billion or more coming out. They don't always know or understand the details, but they know that health care is important to not only their health, but to their life. I mean, after you're 65, you start to recognize the real importance of being able to get to your doctor quickly and have access to specialists and good quality health. Retiring baby boomers are probably the largest growing block of voters in this country. And if that shifts from being a more solid Democrat vote or more leaning Democrat to dramatically leaning Republican because of what's happened in this bill and other areas, that's a major political shift that could decide elections. The other is there's an awakening and alertness of young people. But the young people are going to either have penalties because they're not going to take insurance. They're going to have higher premiums because there are actually limitations on how low a premium can be for a young person. I mean, this legislation and the insurance companies that I've talked to, the premiums for young people who already didn't want to buy insurance because it was too expensive and not responsive to their needs are going to go up more than 100%. They're going to more than double, which means that they're going to probably have to pay a penalty, in which case they get nothing for it. I'm not sure that generation really wants to turn their health over to the government or to restrictions and barriers, to limitations, to aggregate budgets, to quality of life analysis by faceless bureaucrats. They don't really think about health care much because they don't use it that often. But once they understand that they're going to get penalized, get thrown in jail, they're going to be mandated to have insurance, I think you're going to see an outrage from the younger population, which is a very strong supporter, especially of Obama, is another segment that I think is going to have a big impact in future elections. One of the groups of people, and I always ask, well, how did this meeting get set up? Who organized it? Are you political operatives? Or you've been working in political campaigns? And of the ones I've done now, a total of 8, not a single person has ever been involved in politics before. And I said, well, how did you manage to set this up? Why did you take control of this? And so these are people who have never been involved in politics before, but the profile is very interesting. The profile of these individuals, almost across the board, are stay-at-home moms. These are the people who've been told under the feminist movement that they really weren't all that important. They weren't doing the right things. By not working, you weren't as valuable as sort of the super mom who was working and raising kids and having a job. These are everyday Americans who are asking legitimate questions, and the stay-at-home moms that have been the backbone of this country for decades and have been dismissed over the last few are now getting together on the internet. And they're connecting, and they're finding out that they're not alone, that they don't have to put up with that kind of characterization. They can actually get involved. I think in the 2010 election, the most powerful message is going to come from that group of moms. Because the message that I'm hearing from them is, you're spending my kid's future and I'm mad as hell. I want it to stop. You're ruining my kid's future, and these are the moms that are worried the most about their children. We have to say no. At some point, this country is going to stand up and say, we have a lot of needs, there's a lot of risks, there's a lot of problems, but we can't provide everything for everybody. And at some point, you say no because we don't have the money. We're going to go bankrupt. We're going to have countries stop lending us money. We're going to have a government bubble, just like we had bubbles in the housing market, in the stock market, in the dot-com market. I predict we're going to have a government bubble that's going to be disastrous if we don't wake up real quick. And I think that there is a political shift going on, and we'll see how smart people are in picking up on it to change this government. Now's the time, if you've ever thought about getting involved in politics, paying attention to the details. Now is the time, because your future is at stake, but more importantly, your kids' future is at stake. And I'm excited as you listen to these Tea Party groups. You know, Newt Gingrich in 1994 had a contract for America.
Right.
The new contract that these town hall meetings are coming up with is a contract from America. And that's the concept, I think, that's developing out there. What does the people want? And government officials work for the people, not the other way around. And these jokers in Washington today, and some on both sides of the aisle, have forgotten that.
Yeah.